Disclaimer. I doesn't claim any of the arts. All the pictures shown belongs to the respective artist and company. If you are original owner and want me to remove the video, I will do it immediately. Just send me an email to inform me. And if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel.
Chapter begins, and we see as Giselle runs away. Luca tried to take a quick look again, but as he aimed to shoot the person, they skillfully avoided the bullets, disappearing like a shadow. The stranger said it would hurt Luca deeply if he had to kill two of his own juniors, which shocked Luca. Suddenly, the person jumped behind Luca and kicked him away, warning him that he would die if he didn't pay close attention. Now Luca realized the person was once a member of the Imperial Guard. No wonder they were so skilled. Luca hadn't expected to get distracted by such nonsense when he should have been focusing only on the fight. He noticed the opponent was still targeting him, probably thinking he had enough time to capture Giselle after defeating Luca. If Luca kept fighting directly, that would likely happen. He needed to find another way to fight back and stay focused. Luca started using all his mental power to scan the area for any advantage and spotted Felix's sword. He threw his gun away and grabbed the sword, swinging it in one smooth motion. The stranger was impressed. Luca hit the sword without even looking. Maybe Luca was using a special fighting style called Archis Victima. Hearing that scared Luca, and the person kicked him away again. The stranger said it would be a waste to kill someone who knows that method. He had planned to play with Luca, but now things had gotten serious. Luca felt his energy change but wondered why the Archis Victima style mattered so much. More importantly, did he have any chance? Was Giselle safe? These questions kept him from focusing. He also couldn't believe a former Imperial Guard was giving him such a hard time. The person told Luca to step back and not waste his life on useless fighting. Luca breathed out deeply. He could feel the stranger's eyes on him, but that gave him time to think. His injuries, who he was, and the Archis Victima style didn't matter now. What mattered was the deep anger burning inside him. The stranger dodged Luca's next attack and saw how hard Luca had trained for someone his age. Was he really ready to throw all that away for the Empire? Luca, still bleeding, kept fighting, but the stranger wondered if Luca really thought he couldn't be killed. Luca said the Empire was something different. He just couldn't stand the stranger's annoying attitude. The person laughed and said Luca's rebellious nature didn't fit with the Empire. He was sure they would meet again and suggested they at least exchange names. "I'm Rick Kaiser, a Republican," he said. Luca asked if Rick was part of a rebellion, but Rick preferred to call himself part of the resistance. Luca apologized but said he couldn't understand him because of all the barking sounds Rick made. Rick warned Luca to be careful because his bark was as fierce as his bite. Then Rick jumped a few times and charged with a strong punch that broke Luca's arm. He grabbed the arm, pulling it even more before lifting Luca up. "This is your last chance. You better beg for your life," Rick said. Luca smiled and spat on Rick's mask. Rick liked that fiery spirit. If he survived, he would tell Kanoni that Rick Kaiser was doing well. The last thing Luca felt was the snap of his neck, a feeling not many experience. At the Imperial Troops Hospital in the capital, Felix tried to move his neck, but it hurt badly. Luca told him that was normal, and he should stop trying. Felix's brain was badly damaged, and help for his broken neck came too late. Felix was lucky to be alive. Right after the attacker caught him, 4 Imperial Guards and Giselle came to help. Without their quick first aid, Felix wouldn't be alive to tell the story. Hemilas arrived in their room and told Luca to sit down when he saw him trying to stand. Luca sat and looked at Felix, saying he had done his duty until the end. Hemilas understood but wanted Luca's full report. Luca told him everything he knew. Hemilas shared what he knew about Rick Kaiser. His real name was Rick Silva Nunez, one of the most wanted criminals in their files. Luca had never heard of him, but that was normal because not all criminals are made public, especially those connected to secrets that could shame the Empire. Luca felt surprised and ashamed of the Empire that claimed to be perfect. Wasn't it just one person's actions? Hemilas thought it was right to explain the truth behind this mission. Called Operation Juliet, it started 5 years ago. Its goal was to infiltrate a group against the Empire called Nemesis. Luca asked why they didn't just destroy Nemesis. Hemilas said their group was spread out and hard to eliminate with normal methods. No matter how many were killed, they kept growing like cockroaches. They had to target the leaders. Luca asked if the plan failed since Rick wasn't caught. Hemilas said it was a success. They planted a spy inside Nemesis. Barbara was that spy. They recruited her for her hacking skills. They made sure Nemesis trusted her, though Hamilas didn't know she was so twisted. Luca couldn't accept that she was on their side. But what about the people who suffered? Felix with his brain injury, Giselle, who wasted time chasing a false lead, and his own daughter, who had been tormented for so long. Were they just pawns? He asked if Giselle knew, but Hamilas said she was still unaware. It was better that way. I understand why you're telling me this, right? Luca said. Hamilas nodded. Luca thought he would be killed or silenced without achieving anything. But Hamilas gave him a paper to sign, an adoption form, and welcomed him into the Castoria family. As Luca's support device was being removed, he remembered what Hilus had told him, that the paperwork would take quite a while to finish because their family had some old-fashioned elders who didn't like any kind of change. The medical robot warned him that he would feel some pain and discomfort for a while, and Luca started putting on his clothes. Flex asked if he was leaving, and Luca said he had something to do, so Flex wished him good luck. Luca couldn't stand looking at Flex, so he quietly closed the door without saying goodbye. While walking through the education hall, Luca thought about Barbara, a spy sent by the Empire to secretly join Nemesis. Even after all this time, she still made his heart beat faster. Her actions were not just pretending. She was clearly a twisted person. Maybe the Empire had made her that way on purpose. He stopped and wondered if everything happening to him was really just a coincidence. How he escaped from an orphanage in the lower sector, how he met Kinuan and learned the Archie's Victima method, and even what he did at the academy. He used to think all this was his own choice, his own free will. But maybe he hadn't truly overcome his past by just working hard. His thoughts started to shake, but then he forced himself to be strong again, realizing these doubts were just illusions with no real basis. The Chief Centurion might just be testing him. He couldn't lose this chance that could change his life. He opened the door to Kinuan's office. Kinuan asked if he had enjoyed his time at the academy, and Luca said yes. It was so much fun that he almost didn't want to come back. Kinuan looked sad when he heard about Flex. He said Flex was an excellent trainee. Luca wondered if Kinuan really thought so as he drank his tea and told him what Rick had asked him to say. Kinuan was happy to hear Rick was doing well, but he didn't expect Rick to become an enemy. Luca noticed Kinuan seemed close to Rick, so Kinuan explained that they were both part of the same group of new recruits. Rick's reaction speed was incredible, and it was good to know he had survived. Luca asked if they still kept in touch, but Kinuan told him not to misunderstand. Even though Rick was retired, he was still paid by the Empire and wouldn't contact anyone outside of it. It seemed he hadn't even told the Chief Centurion about this. Kinuan said if Luca thought his suspicions were true, he should report it right away. Luca said that would get him killed immediately. He wanted to check things out himself before saying anything. Kinuan told him to calm down. If they killed people for this kind of thing, Luca would have been dead long ago. He then asked Luca why he was really trying to get on his good side. Luca smiled and asked what exactly the Archie's Victima method was. Kinuan asked if Luca was really that curious, and Luca said yes. The Empire kept a list of everyone who used it, and that was why Rick hadn't killed him. Kinuan took a sip of tea and said Luca had come faster than expected. He knew too much for a trainee, and he understood what that meant. Luca agreed, so Kinuan started to explain. About 200 years ago, in the year 358, the Empire faced its first rebellion. The leader was Noel Mulenka, an executive consultant. He had helped the Empire a lot by creating the foundation for fighting, using cybernetic implants and different combat ideas. Noel believed that attacking the Empire directly was useless, so he chose to fight, using guerrilla tactics. That was how the Archie's Victima method was created and became known. Noel's rebel army fought the Empire by replacing their commanders with Archie's Victima users and kept resisting. Luca now understood. The downsides of the Archie's Victima method didn't matter in guerrilla warfare. Their lives were always in danger, so harming their brain functions wasn't a big worry. Since they didn't have uniforms, they needed a more flexible way to fight. Kinuan agreed. Even after many attempts to destroy the rebels, Noel and some important members escaped. They spread out across the Empire, recruiting new fighters to attack more important Empire places. It didn't matter if they were caught. They could just lose their trail and start over. Luca could imagine it clearly. The rebels probably didn't have trouble hiding as normal people. And since their implants were made for non-fighting, no one would suspect they were rebels. But Archie's Victima users could fight well even without good cybernetics. They could pass any inspection easily. That must be why Rick let him live. And now he understood why the Empire kept a list of Archie's users. Luca asked how the Empire stopped the rebels. Kinnuan said they killed anyone who looked suspicious. There was no time to check if they were friend or enemy. Some areas were completely destroyed by this. Even Archie's Victima users couldn't survive. That's how the rebellion ended. Luca asked if the Empire hid this story. Kinnuan said they didn't exactly hide it, but they didn't talk about it either. If someone wasn't interested, they wouldn't find out. Luca understood the betrayal of Nalzika, a key Empire figure, the Empire's massacres, and an Imperial Guard teacher who knew the rebels' methods. He asked to be sure if the Chief Centurion sent him here because he thought they might still have ties to the rebels. Kinnuan clapped and congratulated him. If Luca found proof that he was really in contact with Nemesis, he would quickly rise to the top of the Imperial Guard. Luca didn't believe Kinnuan was talking to them, but Kinnuan said the Chief Centurion thought differently. To give him a clue, he should look into his own past in the lower sector. It would help him succeed. Luca didn't understand how Kinnuan could stay so calm while being suspected of rebellion. How much did Hillis know? Did he send Luca to Kinnuan knowing this? Luca stood up and said he would report this to the Chief Centurion, then quickly closed the door and ran away. He couldn't believe it. Everyone here was just playing with him. He was only a pawn for the Chief Centurion and Kinnuan to test each other. How much longer would he have to keep walking this thin line? It was getting harder to understand Kinnuan. Who was he really? Luca couldn't find any real information from trusted sources, but he wouldn't let himself be used like this. So for now, he would play along with Kinnuan game and follow his tracks in the lower sectors. The Chief Centurion sent him to Kinnuan because he suspected Kinnuan had connections to Nemesis, yet Kinnuan acted like nothing was wrong. What did he mean by telling Luca to check his past in the lower sectors? Was he trying to have Luca killed by Nemesis? Or was this a test, a plan by Kinnuan and the Empire to see how loyal Luca was? And with that, this chapter ends.
Thank you for watching this video until the end. Support this channel by liking this video and subscribing the channel. And if you want me to recap another manhwa or manga, write its name in the comments section. And if you want to know that what happened in previous chapters, you can watch them in this channel. Stay tuned for next chapters.